as impactful. Both can score, both can distribute.
And believe it or not, since February 1st, those two players are the top two scorers in Big 12 play. Your officials this afternoon, Doug Sermons, Keith Kimball, and Ray Natili. It's Oklahoma State in their black uniforms controlling the opening tip. And there's that UCF defense right off the bat.
They're as good a defense as anybody in this league outside of Houston.
The Knights in white, the Cowboys in black. The winner faces BYU in the second round tomorrow.
Knights have a dynamic duo scoring when you talk about Sellers and Johnson.
Here's the big man Diallo, and double dribble call, the first turnover of the game for UCF. Take a look at this Oklahoma State starting five. They are the youngest team in the Big 12.
Two freshman starters, three in their top six. They've had some growing pains, but we've seen signs of improvement also.
Just 1-6 against top 25 teams. It's been a learning experience this year for Mike Boynton's club, and they've been playing the last 10-plus games without their best player, Bryce Thompson.
And what you'll see from UCF today, multiple defenses, especially pressure, mostly man-to-man, very aggressive, very athletic, and of course a shot blocker, Diallo inside.
Here's John Michael Wright in the paint, gives it up to the youngster, Brandon Garrison, and he's got the first two of the game.
Nicely done right there, shooting over size.
Jalen Sellers, leading scorer in the regular season for the Knights. Diallo again. Johnny Dawkins, a concerted effort to take the ball inside the paint, but Diallo can't complete it. Gets it back, left hand is good.
Nicely done, good way to stay with it, big fella. And went to that offhand. Certainly wasn't an offhand looking shot right there.
It's Javon Small, 12 in black. He's been on a scoring binge lately. Jamyron Keller turns it over. UCF looking to run. Sellers, no with the left hand. And this is what Mike Boynton wants to do, get out and run.
Before the defense gets set up, exactly.
Brandon Garrison misses on the free throw line jump shot. Both of these teams struggle to score the ball a little bit.
Yeah, they do. I think UCF a little bit better. They've got some firepower on the perimeter.
Blocked by Garrison from close range. Diallo follows it up, and he'll go to the line. Johnny Dawkins, the head coach for the UCF Knights in his 8th year in Orlando, won his 300th career game earlier this season, and he talks about playing in this league being such a learning experience their first time through. I think they've acquitted themselves very well.
Well, they very much so have, because they were picked 14th, Rich, and when you go and beat Kansas and you win some of the quality road games that they've done this year, I think it's been a great season. Johnny, one of the great guys in the sport of basketball, great player at Duke, assistant coach under Coach K. And he's got a team that really competes. I love watching them play because they play so hard.
Diallo goes 1 for 2 from the free throw line, and UCF's up 3-2. Here's Garrison. No good from close range. These teams met less than 2 weeks ago, Fran, and on the road, UCF pulled out a 6-point win.
Yeah, I watched that game. It was a good game. Both teams played well, but UCF came away with the win in Stillwater.
Diallo's going to need a breather after this. They are feeding the post.
Well, and that's the strategy. You know, you can tell right away that they want to try to get Garrison in foul trouble.
Another block by Garrison. He's got a couple already, and the Pokes want to run. Here's Small, blocked on the other end. And we are seeing both defenses rise up in the middle.
Well, you saw C.J. Walker right there, the Oregon transfer. Hurt last year, but Rich, he plays with great energy. Take a look right here. C.J. comes into your picture. You know, they're 12th in the country in defensive efficiency. And when you talk about a league that they're playing in and you're 12th, and that's elite defense.
Number 1 in the Big 12 in blocks. Good hands there by Omar Payne.
Well, to your point, Diallo got a breather.
5 to shoot for the Cowboys. Here's number 5, Keon Williams. Tried to force feed it inside, and it's a shot clock violation. We're going the other way. So we showed you Johnny Dawkins. There's Mike Boynton, 43 years old in January, a Brooklyn native, has, as we mentioned, his youngest team in his tenure in Stillwater.
Yep, and they're coming off 5 losses to end the season. the heartbreaker was the loss at home to Oklahoma. I thought it was one of the best played games of the year. Javion McCollum makes a 3 to end it. Sooners win a road game, and they've struggled since, Rich.
Oklahoma State just 3-10 in games decided by 2 possessions. Right now, a close one here in the first 4 minutes. 15 on the shot clock. It'll stay UCF basketball. Here's Jarius Johnson. 33 points last time out in their road win at TCU. His first shot off the mark. Freshman Eric Daly with the ball. Now Williams going up against Walker, and he walled him up.
Great defense there by C.J. Walker. Never had to leave his feet, just put his hands to the ceiling and challenge that shot.
That's Walker on the wing. No good from short range. And a little bit of a feeling out process in the first 4 minutes.
Yep.
Small forced it up. And Omar Payne clears for the Knights.
Excellent defense so far by UCF. Nothing easy for the Cowboys, challenging every shot.
Interior defense has been the name of the game so far today. Here's a lob and a finish by Williams.
Well, that's the recipe today, because you don't really think, if you're a Cowboy fan, that they're going to be able to score easily in the half court. So getting out and running and using that open space, very smart right there.
Payne off the mark with the jump hook. Oklahoma State with the lead and the ball, coming up on 15 minutes to go in the first half. Here's Small for 3. No good, saved by UCF. And Jalen Sellers brings it up, averaged 16 a game this season for Johnny Dawkins. Payne lost the handle.
Got to shoot that one there. Jarius.
And Walker knocks down the 3, and the cardinal sin by Keon Williams, fouling a 3-point shooter. So C.J. Walker will go to the line looking to complete a 4-point play. It's a 6-4 lead early for UCF. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball.
Tamara, Izzy, and Emma. They respond to emails with phone calls. And they don't circle back. They're already there. They wear business sneakers and pad their keyboards with something that makes their clickety-clacking clickety-clackier. But no one loves logistics as much as they do. You need Tamara, Izzy, and Emma. They need a retirement plan. Work with Principal so we can help you with a retirement and benefits plan that's right for your team. Let our expertise round out yours.
BK Royal Crispy Wraps. Eat it with the meal or have it as a snack. Only $2.99. It's a hunger hack and it fits in one hand. And BK, have it your way.
Roll up to Easter with fast and easy drive up.
What you wanna see? Let's go. Doing it so naturally. Gonna be a fantasy. Easy like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's easy like.
Drive up is fast, easy, and always free. Only at Target.
Things are about to get extreme. Daddy's home. Your favorite marvelous mutants are back.
It'll be just like old times.
10 all-new episodes, only on Disney Plus, that will knock you out. Take his visor before he starts up again.
No, don't! I surrender!
Not. Don't miss the all-new X-Men 97, only on Disney Plus.
Ride towards it. Reach for it. Protect it. Enjoy it. Blue skies. Open roads. Wrangler for the ride of life.
Back in Kansas City at the Big 12 Championship alongside Fran Fraschilla, I'm Rich Hollenberg. It was a good first season in the Big 12 for UCF. They had 3 top 25 wins. That's the most in program history.
Yeah, I've been impressed with them. You know, beating Kansas at home, winning on the road at some tough places, Texas and TCU, and they handled TCU in a nail-biter on Saturday. And I think Johnny Dawkins and his staff have got to be very pleased to this point in the season. And obviously they want to play a little more basketball. Rich, 61 net is pretty good when you're towards the bottom of a great league like this.
So Walker front ends the free throw after the three-point made.
See if they switch. See, they go to that little, like a 1-1-3, back to a 2-3. And I mentioned at the top, they will change their defenses and give you different looks.
Garrison. Good ball movement by the
good
post.
challenge, too. Another good challenge.
Jarius Hicklen off the mark. Offensive rebound is the 19-year-old, Brandon Garrison. Another freshman, Eric Daly. Tried to pull a Dirk Nowitzki there.
Yeah, good-looking shot. I've been impressed with Eric Daly Jr. this year. He's had a really solid first year. Kind of a 3-level scorer, plays with good toughness, too.
At 15 when these teams first met. That 3-ball off the mark from Omar Payne, not his specialty.
Made 3 all season.
Nice feed, and Daly with the flush.
That's unlike the Knights right there, giving up an easy one, but you can see the strategy. Get up the floor and try to beat that half-court defense before they're set.
We talked to both coaches before the game. It sounded like mirroring scouting reports.
Yeah, yep, and of course they know each other by now because they've just played with each other, played against each other 2 weeks ago.
5 on the clock for the Knights. Sellers rises up, can't knock it down. Walker with the follow, and he'll go to the line.
Now we talked about it, like Mike Boynton said, let's get it up the floor quickly. By the way, if you get it up the floor quickly, you not only have a chance to score, Rich, there's less chance of a turnover in the half court. And that has been a big bugaboo of Oklahoma State this year, is not taking care of the basketball.
As a team, UCF shooting 71% from the free throw line. C.J. Walker, a 65% free throw shooter, but he knocks down the first.
Well, C.J. only played 4 games last year, Rich, before injury shut him down. He was a highly recruited player out of the Orlando area. Went out west to Oregon, and he's now back home playing in his home state for Johnny Dawkins.
Yep. Missed the first 10 games this year also, and then 4 more later. As a matter of fact, it was an injury-riddled year in some respects for UCF. Only 3 players played all 30 games. Jalen Sellers, Darius Johnson, and Omar Payne.
And you see back to the zone. So again, fastball, curveball, mix up your pitches.
How does a young Cowboys team handle this different look of a defense nearly each time down the floor? 10 to shoot. Pokes turnover. Here's Darius Johnson. Mike Boynton saying we got to keep him out of the paint. Here's Diallo back on the floor. 7 to shoot. Works on Garrison and gets it to go.
Nicely done right there. If you go back to early in Big 12 play, he hit that huge shot against Kansas late in the game that really sealed the deal. And Johnny Dawkins going to the big fella early.
Diallo had 12 points in that upset win at TCU on Saturday. There's a deep 3, and it's good. Jarius Hicklen with the triple.
Jarius Hicklen is the best open shooter on this team, and that time I think that UCF didn't respect the range. 90% of his shots are threes.
Yeah, 43 of his 46 made field goals, Fran. But that's his first one in the last 6 games, so that's a good sign for Oklahoma State. And Diallo back to work.
He's got a huge physical advantage on the big fella. And big fella comes up with a steal. I meant he's got an advantage on Garrison, the freshman. Let's see if they continue to go inside.
4 Oklahoma State turnovers early on. Here's Johnson for 3. And a timeout on the floor. UCF extends their lead to 6.
Well, Jarius Hicklen, he's got range from Overland Park. And then Darius Johnson, we know what he could do. He is a dangerous scorer, knocking it down from deep as well.
Oh, it's the best time of year if you're a college hoops fan. Champ Week tickets punched already, and Brent, we were just talking, it's been pretty chalky. A lot of 1 seeds in these conferences have won their tournaments. Stetson stands out as a Cinderella going to the dance for the first time in forever.
What stands out to me is I've been a mid-major coach in those championship games, got a chance to win and go to a tournament, NCAA tournament. No greater pressure that a coach feels during a season than to be in a mid-major championship week tournament knowing that if you don't win, you probably are not going to the tournament. By the way, I think Indiana State Sycamores will get into the field. 28-6, fabulous year, 26 net. And Josh Scherz is one of the hot young coaches in the country.
That's been a buzzworthy topic ever since Arch Madness.
I lived that scenario back in '95. Manhattan got in. We knocked off Oklahoma in the NCAA tournament.
Late shot clock, forced the jumper. John Michael Wright off the mark, no foul called. It'll be UCF basketball.
Rich, when you look at UCF, now they struggle at times offensively, but their defense, I said, outside of Houston, that is as good a defense as you'll see in the Big 12 this season.
And that's saying something with the likes of the Iowa State Cyclones.
Absolutely.
And other teams.
Well, and I think Iowa State probably a cut above as well. That's 1 and 2 in the country, but
blocked from behind. So we saw Jarius Hicklen with a 3, and then he gets a block on the defensive end. This Cowboys team, no slouch in the defensive department.
Very solid, very solid. Jarius Hicklen, I love that kid, man. He's a Dallas kid. He graduated in 2 years of college, 2.5 maybe. Started at Oklahoma Baptist, and he went to North Florida, played for Matt Driscoll, former Baylor assistant. He's already got his degree, working on a master's.
Here's Javon Small.
Tough shot. It's that athleticism.
Small had a career-high 34 against BYU, despite the loss in Provo. The rest of the team had 16 field goals. He made 10 of them.
I know it. You know, the crazy thing about that was they played late Saturday night and had to, get back to Stillwater. Here it is Tuesday, and they're in the opening round game.
So far, Javon Small scoreless in this game. Darius Johnson, the other top scorer in Big 12 play in the last month plus, has 1 3 to his credit. Low scoring game, what we expected in this opening game of the Big 12 championship.
Good job of switching right there on that screener play.
Johnson guarding Keon Williams, but Keon Williams brushes it off.
Keon Williams reminds me of Darian Williams of Texas Tech. That undersized power wing, can play inside or out, and he plays with great energy. Only a sophomore.
There's Diallo, the 7-footer. Can't get it to go. And then Walker lost it. Again, the Cowboys in transition. They go right at the big man, and he swallowed up the basketball. But a foul is called as Eric Daly went strong to the hole. First foul on Ibrahima Diallo.
Yeah, and I think Johnny Dawkins, although he didn't complain much, he was thinking verticality right here. But what I love about the freshman is, and I think, watch Diallo's hands come down at the last minute. So you got to stay vertical to the ceiling. But Eric Daly is a kid, highly rich. See, they're having that conversation right now. Highly recruited, Rich. He's played for USA Basketball at the junior level. And I've enjoyed watching him play because he's always got a smile on his face, you know?
Just turned 20 back on January 15th from Palmetto, Florida.
Sure, not going to work. Yeah, that's Tampa?
South Florida.
Okay. Can you give me a little more help on the geography?
Geography was not my major.
Is it West Florida? Is it East?
Well, there's a Palmetto in South Florida that is near Miami.
That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. And he went to school at IMG
right.
over in Bradenton.
IMG is Bradenton.
I know that's on the West Coast, but you got to help me out here
right.
on these small towns, Rich, because you're a Florida man.
IMG is Dick Vitale territory.
That's Bradenton, yep. And, of course, Eric's mom, former WNBA coach, a longtime coach at IMG Academy. Here's a little zone now, and this is a 1-1-3 that we've seen them use this year, and it starts out looking like a 1-3-1, and there's a
picked off by John Michael Wright, and good hands, nearly taken away by Jalen Sellers. Oklahoma State could tie with a bucket, could take the lead with a 3. 9 minutes to go in the first half. Off the catch. Right off the mark.
Big time rebound by C.J. Walker right there. Nice pass.
Look at that feed. Payne. And a jump ball. It's going to be possession arrow, UCF.
And John Michael off to a slow start, but think about Rich, already 2,100 points in his career. Started at High Point for 3 years, played for Tubby Smith, the great Tubby Smith, national champion of Kentucky.
Walker, aggressive air ball. And it's saved by the Knights.
Oh boy.
And they throw it out to Fran. Trying to get an assist to Fraschilla for 3.
Coming our way. I had you covered. You were safe with me, Rich.
That's the third Knights turnover. And once again, Oklahoma State with the ball and a chance to tie it up. Both teams 5 for 19 from the field. Daly. The one more. And Keller short on 3, so UCF looks to run. There's a left-handed 3 by Sellers. No. And Wright brings it up the right side. Another turnover. Johnson spots up and knocks it down. Automatic for number 3, his second triple of the game.
A good job by Shamari Allen right there. He's kind of the glue guy. Didn't take the tough shot. Waited for Johnson to get his feet set and deliver it right on time, on target.
33 points against TCU in his last outing. He has 6 today. And that's a bucket by John Michael Wright, his first of the game, muscling his way to the basket.
Now, if you keep it score at home, that's 2,130 career points.
And 301 career three-pointers.
Well, Jarius Johnson, young man from the DMV, a legend in D.C., knocking it down. His dad was a lesson, too. We'll talk about him. And the straight to the basket.
First round of the Big 12 Championship from the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Oklahoma State down 3 to UCF. It was a frustrating season for Mike Boyne, who came in with a really highly touted recruiting class, but that also means they were one of the youngest teams in the country, and then they went out and lost their best player, Bryce Thompson, January 30th at Kansas, his former team. They played the last 10 games without him.
Well, in the old days, like 5 years ago, if you had a top 10 recruiting class, you got really excited about that, and they should be. But when you play that many young players in a league like this with the extra COVID year, transfer portal, we know from being around this league, Rich, this league gets old, it stays old, and it's very tough and physical for young players to come in and do a lot of damage.
Omar Payne misses the first of 2 free throws.
The well-traveled Omar Payne, who originally played at Florida for Mike White, then Illinois, last year Jacksonville, so his basketball passport being stamped quite a bit.
He goes 1 for 2. So far, UCF 4 for 7 from the charity stripe. Oklahoma State 2 for 2. That's in stark contrast to the first time these two teams played in Stillwater a couple weeks ago. 66 combined free throws.
Oh, yeah, and nearly 60 fouls, as I recall, in that game.
Here's some pressure from the Knights, handled by Oklahoma State.
They do that a lot. They throw a lot of full court presses at you just to slow you down on offense. Of course, we've seen them change defenses already. They switch a lot. Very active team. You'd expect that from a Johnny Dawkins team. Of course, he played for Coach K.
5 on the shot clock. Small inside. Garrison. Beautiful. Easy two.
Beautiful. Diallo came out there and stayed out there, and so it was a double team, and Small found Garrison, who leaked to the basket. And now Oklahoma State mixing and matching some defenses with a little zone.
Left-handed three in and out from Jalen Sellers. He has yet to get in the scoring column today.
He loves this. He loves to ISO. Watch Daly. Excuse me.
Left-hand spin move off the mark. Here comes Jarius Johnson. So strong with the basketball and missing on the back iron with that three-ball attempt, but a foul is called. That's going to go on Shamari Allen.
Watch this here. Now watch the little double team out, pick and roll. Diallo stays too long. A poor rotation from the backside by Allen. He's late, and Garrison with a nice catch in traffic and gets it done, finishing young man who is, I believe, the 9th McDonald's All-American to play at Oklahoma State. The second under Mike Boyd. Of course, the first would have been Cade Cunningham. I was watching the scroll. I think he had a big game last night for the Pistons.
Yeah, the Pistons got a win.
Yeah.
Coming up on 6 minutes to go in the first half. The winner of this game will face BYU tomorrow. Williams out to Keller for three. Off the mark. Williams the offensive rebound. Nice lead for Garrison, another two. Brandon Garrison has 6. He had 4 the last time these teams played.
And I just love the way Keon Williams sets the tone with his energy. 6'5", young man from Jonesboro, Arkansas. Sophomore, continues to get better. Kind of guy you love coaching.
Yeah, tied for the 3rd time this afternoon. 10 on the shot clock. Diallo. Blocked again by Garrison, but Walker, Johnny, on the spot.
Johnny Walker, you know. A couple of our production guys in the truck, they know Johnny Walker.
That was my grandfather's go-to drink. The late, great Papa Harry. Johnny Walker Black, chilled in a stem glass. That's old school.
That's TMI.
Yeah. So let's revisit our Phillips 66 Big 12 Men's Championship bracket. Again, this is the first time ever we're playing 5 straight days of basketball here in Kansas City. The winner of this goes up against BYU. Later today, it's Cincinnati and West Virginia, and the winner of that game will face, yes, the 6th-seeded Kansas.
Well, and if you just woke up from a long nap, you probably know or don't know, but we'll tell you, Kansas will not play Kevin McCullough or Hunter Dickinson in this tournament. Bill Self had a press conference yesterday. He said they're going to rest him. He believes they both will be ready to go for the NCAA tournament, which for them will likely start in either 9 or 10 days from now. So those two outstanding players, first team all-league players, will get plenty of rest. As Kansas, as we've seen, Rich, has not been right since the injury to Kevin McCullough back on, I think it was January 13th against Oklahoma. It was the first time I was watching tape. It was the first time I remember him on the bench with the coaching staff kind of rubbing his knee. And I thought, well, maybe that was the game that he hurt it. But it's been a lingering problem all year.
And it's easy to forget now. It's so long ago. Kansas was the preseason #1 team in the nation. Not just the #1 team in the Big 12, but #1 in the nation. Again, cry me a river. You're a top 15 team still.
Well, I'm not going to forget that they've already beaten in this year's AP poll, #1, #2, and #4.
Diallo off the mark. Cowboys can take the lead with a bucket. And Javon Small gives them that lead.
And Javon is limping right now. We'll keep an eye on that. Came down awkwardly.
Sellers got his first bucket of the afternoon.
And the Ball State transfer has been a go-to guy along with Johnson all season for Johnny Dawkins. Too much space right here.
Here's Connor Dow, who's just checked in. And this is what he does, shoot threes, but he's way off the mark on his first attempt.
Yeah, they chased him off the line.
Now a three-ball attempt from Tierno Silla. Just his 16th triple of the season. UCF a 2-point lead. Under 4 minutes to go in the first half. Here's Small. Johnson, a one-man fast break. And he's fouled at the other end.
Well, Tierno Silla, Johnny Dawkins says he's got a deep team. Big fella off the bench. 28% on the season, but it's tournament time. And players do step up. Well, early in this game, Johnny Dawkins going to the San Jose State transfer, Ibrahima Diallo. And that 7-foot, 250, why not? Getting it done inside, challenging the young freshman who's probably got 30 pounds to go before keeping up with the big fella, a young man who played his basketball in high school at Prolific Prep, which, by the way, has produced a guy named Yves Misi this year, who we've enjoyed improving, Rich. But Ibrahima from Senegal on the west coast of Africa, and Ibrahima Diallo, I love that name because it's like John Smith in America. You know, there's a lot of Diallos and many good basketball friends in the country of Senegal.
UCF has 6 points in the paint, all 6 from number 11 in white, Ibrahima Diallo, but he turned it over, and Keon Williams looking to cash it in. Ball is knocked out of bounds, and it's going to be UCF basketball.
Keon Williams, big smile on his face, man. I love a guy that plays with that kind of energy and joy. That's my word for the season in the Big 12, joy. You get to see some great young athletes who love to compete and do it with a smile on their face. Another zone look here by the Cowboys.
UCF's 4 for 8 from three-point range, but they continue to pound the paint.
Well, I think if you go inside like that and he has some success, it's going to contract that defense, and three-point shots are going to come easier.
Diallo leads all scorers with 9 honorable mention, all Big 12 in his first season in the league.
And obviously a great shot blocker.
Here's a three from Small. Good, his second one of the game.
Rich, I think this guy has gotten better and better the whole season, and he has become, you mentioned the scoring in the second half of the season. He's one of the best guards in this league right now. A scoring point guard, but when I say scoring, he's going to distribute when his teammates are open.
Here's Silla, can't knock down the three. And here come the Pokes, a chance to take the lead.
We'll watch Johnny Dawkins continues even against the zone to go right into the heart of it. With the big guy getting it done, and then Javon Small, the transfer from East Carolina. He's had a very good junior year. Young man from South Bend, Indiana.
And now C.J. Walker checks back in. Small averaging 17.5 in his last 10 games. Scored over 25 times this season. Here he is with a chance for more. In and out on that three. The rebound, Diallo. Two minutes to go in the first half. UCF with the ball and a 1-point lead. The winner advances to the second round to take on the BYU Cougars. And Diallo again. Cowboys have no answer for Ibrahima.
As I said, he's got 30 pounds on the freshman Garrison, so it's been a good strategy by Johnny Dawkins to go inside.
Quick trigger three off the mark, and here come the Knights again. Picked off. Jermiron Keller gets the two.
Jarius really came on that last month of the season as a starter, as a freshman. Had some big games.
Here's Walker, close range, no. And the Pokes are pushing. The lob, Williams saved it, but out of bounds.
Well, they just turned it over on this transition. But let's go back one play, because this is a thing of beauty right here. You see the steal by Keller, and a terrific finish on the other end. And Keller comes right into your living room. Good finish, and Mike Boynton not happy with that on next possession, as Keller tried to make the home run play with the lob.
So Johnny Dawkins calls a use it or lose it timeout with 1:08 to go and his team up 1. If people are just tuning in, Fran, what have we seen so far in the first 19 minutes of this game?
Two teams that want to play tomorrow, because this is one and done, both at the bottom of the standings. We've already talked about the fact that Oklahoma State's young. Johnny Dawkins' team has been a good defensive team. And the winner gets BYU, which to me, Rich, probably as much of a surprise as Houston only losing 3 games. Mark Pope's club, phenomenal job. I think they got like 9 starters. They've got a couple guys out for the year, too. Really impressed with BYU, their ball movement, their shooting. And of course, as someone who coached against them in the old Mountain West in New Mexico, you never doubt their toughness. They have a tough, feisty group. They play hard and sometimes a little over the line. And then after the game, they go, "Good game, coach." Like, you can't not like BYU guys.
They've got a surprising edge to them.
They have an edge that is, they've had it since Danny Ainge and beyond before. Danny Ainge had an edge.
5 on the shot clock. Diallo, what a first half for him. Check that, that's Silla taking the ball to the tin, and he'll go to the free throw line.
But the strategy is the same. The strategy is to go inside and go at Brandon Garrison. And what you like about that, Johnny Dawkins, former NBA player, is they created a 2-for-1 right there. So they will get, if all things go well for the Knights, the second possession.
Silla's good on the free throw. He's got 4. Johnny Dawkins, one of 8 Big 12 head coaches that have either as a player or a coach a Final Four pedigree.
Yes, he does. And in his case, a national championship as an assistant coach.
That too.
Maybe the most important player that in the history of Duke basketball, because I really believe, and I've talked to Jay Billis about this, Tommy Amaker, they had a great recruiting class with those guys, and it's one of the best of all time with Johnny.
Garrison almost had an easy 2. Good hands by C.J. Walker. He commits the foul. That's Walker's second.
And I think one thing he will address with his team in the locker room at halftime, Johnny Dawkins, is transition defense. You know what Oklahoma State just did? They ran what we call a sideline break, where the ball stays up the court on the sideline, and they got that shot up in 4 seconds. And in a strange way, they've created a 2-on-1 situation for themselves. We watched them practice that break early in the year. It's the first time I can remember seeing it in a game.
That's an old North Carolina Dean Smith thing, isn't it?
Yeah, yep. See a lot of high school coaches still use it.
Garrison converts both free throws. It's a 1-point game. Been close throughout. Out of 8-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
Now this is a 1-3-1 defense because of Daly out top. So you mentioned that when we talked to Mike Boynton, he may pull it out of his mothballs, and he has.
3 to shoot. And they nail the 3. Number 13, Marcellus Avery. And what a timely 3 for Avery, who has barely played in this first half.
Well, they went to a defense that we do not believe they've used all season long, and the big guy was in that, what we call the slot, in the open area of that zone.
So 3.3 to go. What do you think the Pokes are going to get here?
Watch the backcourt, because if they throw it in the backcourt, you still have 3 dribbles. There he goes, watch.
Small, has it, floater, short. And UCF will go to the locker rooms with a 35-31 lead at the half over Oklahoma State. UCF 11-4 when they lead at the half. Brandon Garrison led the way for the Pokes with 8. Ibrahima Diallo leading all scorers with 11, 5 for 10 from the field for the UCF big man. So we've reached halftime of the first game of the Phillips 66 Big 12 champion. 14 this year when they trail at the half. They start the ball with possession in their black uniforms. Off the bat, here comes UCF.
Well, they had a good set play for the lob and just couldn't connect on that pass.
Here's Jarius Johnson, knocked down a couple of threes in the first half. But again, they go right back to what's been working all game long. Hand the ball to Ibrahima Diallo.
And Rich, they have a lot of missed shots in the lane. And they've relied on that 3 ball, but I love the idea that they're throwing it inside. And Diallo's going to get a chance to shoot to 2, and then you get the Cowboys in foul trouble, and that softens up your interior defense.
Diallo off the mark, just a 57% free throw shooter.
It's a young man that started his career at Ohio State before ending up with Tim Miles out in San Jose State. Now as a grad student, comes back across the country.
He's got 12 points in the game to lead all scorers. His season high is 14.
He only averages 6 points a game, but they've made it an effort to throw it inside today. That's too easy.
Here's Wright for 3. And Johnson grabs the rebound. Walker hits from distance. CJ Walker's in double digits with 10. Largest lead of the game for UCF.
Good look.
On the shot clock, Javon Small. Now 5 to shoot. Wright goes right at Diallo and misses. And now Sellers from the left side. He drew the foul, and they're going to count the bucket for Jalen Sellers.
Well, Mike Boynton doesn't think that Jalen was in the upward motion, but Keith Kimball had a great look at it. But good push outside, and that ball's got to be in its upward motion. And in the opinion of the official, it was, and so he's going to get a chance, Sellers, to add to the 2 points right here, the Ball State transfer.
Jalen Sellers had 12 when these teams met in Stillwater. That's his 5th point of the game today.
You see the pressure, a little bit pressure back to either man or zone. And in this case, they go man. They've done a really good job of changing their defense all season. Ironic, as Johnny played for Coach K, who was almost always a man-to-man guy.
Seven to shoot. Small threw it right to the UCF defense.
Turnovers for this young team were a problem. Whoa!
Somehow that ball found CJ Walker, and Mike Boynton wants to talk it over. A terrific start to the second half for Johnny Dawkins Knights.
Watch Jarius Johnson right on the money to the athletic CJ Walker, who finishes at the rim. Dropping dimes.
Rich Hollenberg, UCF in the midst of a 12-0 run and a little nod to the Duke days from the Knights.
Yeah, I love this. They start the second half. I want you to watch. Everybody remember this? All 5 players on defense slap the floor. And very reminiscent of Johnny's time with Coach K. That was kind of a staple of that half-court defense, a way to lock in. And it's been 39 years, if you can believe that Johnny finished his career at Duke as the National Player of the Year. I mentioned earlier, Rich, probably the most important, well, I would say, because Jay Billis and Tommy Amaker told me this, the most important player of the Coach K era, because Johnny was the icing on the cake of a great recruiting class that set Duke up for this incredible, 45-year run.
From the D.C. area.
Yep, Mackin High School, which is no longer in existence, but it produced a guy named Austin Carr, Duck Williams, JoJo Hunter, great basketball program.
So what does Oklahoma State have to do to get back in this game?
Not turn it over. That's the key. Not turn it over and get good shots. Then you just got to hope some of them fall. I think
they're on the clock.
Yeah, they've passed up good shots. There's another turnover.
Lost the handle, did Jarius Hicklen out of bounds, and that is the 10th Cowboys turnover today.
Rich, there's been a number of possessions where they move the ball well and somebody has a shot and they don't take it. And you just got to throw caution to the wind, and if you got a shot, it's better than a turnover.
Inside, Diallo. Stop me if you've heard this before. And he goes right to the bucket with it. Ibrahim Diallo's got 14, tying his season high.
Yeah, now, do you front him? Do you double team him? Because the one-on-one with Garrison is not effective right now.
3 minutes gone by in the second half, all UCF. Daly left alone. Short on the three, and Diallo clears.
I actually don't mind that shot. As I said, it's better than a turnover. Daly capable of making that shot.
Ibrahim Diallo has 8 rebounds to go along with his 14 points. The winner of this game faces the BYU Cougars in the second round tomorrow. Diallo hits the deck. Brandon Garrison almost pulled the chair out from behind him.
Well, we've seen this strategy from the very start of the game. Watch Ibrahima just back in Garrison. Good drop step right here. Good finish at the rim. And for a guy averaging 6 points, 6 rebounds in 19 minutes, he's having himself a heck of a ball game today.
Here's Walker. He has a dozen. So scoring from some unexpected places for the UCF Knights. It's usually Sellers and Johnson we're talking about. So far today, it's Diallo and Walker. Here's Jermiron Keller. Nice handoff, but they can't cash in.
Darius Johnson, really good floor game today. We know we can put points on the board. So he's setting his teammates up.
Here's Walker. In and out on that 3-ball attempt. Along the baseline, Daly. That shot affected by Diallo. Bodies flying. Sellers will go to the line. UCF has opened up a 15-point lead, their largest of the afternoon, with 15-14 to go in the game. Well, Fran, if UCF is one of the most pleasant surprises in the Big 12 this year, the team they may face tomorrow might be an even bigger one.
Oh, no question, Rich. This has been a vintage year. Cougar basketball. They love their basketball in the Beehive State. They have for many, many years. And what I love about this BYU team is the depth they have. They got 8 or 9 starters. Of course, they're a 5 seed, which I think is the surprise you're talking about. And go into Lawrence and knock off KU and Allen Fieldhouse. Mark Pope and his guys have done a really, really good job.
Pope got some votes for Coach of the Year. Jackson Robinson winning 6th Man of the Year. And if UCF holds on and wins, they will face the Cougs tomorrow afternoon. UCF lost both of their games to BYU in Provo and in Orlando, but both of those games decided by a grand total of 7 points.
I remember the game in Orlando. It was basically a 2-possession game the entire way.
Sellers knocks down both free throws. He's 3 for 3 from the stripe this afternoon. He has 7, and the lead is extended to 17.
You see that token pressure by UCF, back to man. And right now, if you're Oklahoma State, just got to value the ball. It's been a problem all season long for this young team.
They've missed their last 6 field goal attempts. And that one's picked off. Stolen by Shamari Allen, and a foul is called.
And one more time, cross-court pass that had a little too much helium in it. And Mike Boynton's going to go to the bench quickly, come back with a couple of veterans.
Both teams going relatively small right now, Fran.
Don't tell that to Omar Payne. Eric Daly's a pretty burly guy himself. Can't believe I said burly. He reminds me of a guy that played at Oklahoma State, Fred Burley, back in the early 90s.
Here come the Pokes, still looking for their first points of the second half. In traffic, they go back outside. And back inside. Daly got the foul on Omar Payne, and Eric Daly will go to the line.
Good ball movement that time, side to side, looking for the three-point shot, wasn't there. Ball reversal, gets it into Daly, and the freshman's going to shoot a pair. I mentioned USA Basketball. Eric's been on a number of those junior national teams. He's played with some of the best players in the country. A couple of the guys he's played with are now in the NBA.
He was part of that FIBA U19 team
this summer
that went to the World Cup in Hungary.
Yeah, did not fare as well as we normally do. Tad Boyle coached that team, but that wasn't a team with a lot of NBA talent.
Tad Boyle, head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, who will be back in the Big 12 next season.
He will be here in T-Mobile Center with his Buffs. Get a chance to see him during the course of the year, and he's done a great job there.
Here's Payne. Sizing up Daly. Omar Payne left hand, no good. And it's going to be Oklahoma State basketball.
Omar Payne, you know what his connection to Oklahoma State is? He played at Montverde Academy with Cade Cunningham. They were on the same Montverde team when Cade was a senior.
Daly forcing it up. And the Knights want to push. You talked about Jarius Johnson coming off a 33-point heater and not forcing anything.
No, it doesn't need to right now. Offense has been clicking. They've been going inside.
Walker in traffic. Right, transition three. Still nothing from the field in the second half. Sellers, how about that dipsy-do?
On a great pass, thread the needle there by Jarius Johnson. It was so on target. Sellers didn't even have to use a dribble.
6 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists for Jarius Johnson. Jalen Sellers has 9, and UCF's lead has ballooned to 18. Timeout on the floor with the Knights steamrolling the Pokes in the second half.
Yeah, great ball move. Look at that thread the needle pass right there by Jarius Johnson. Transition basket by Sellers. Mentioned earlier, that's been a very good backcourt in the Big 12 this year. Another look. And Rich, the interesting thing about Jarius Johnson, he's at UCF because his father, Kelvin, grew up in Washington, D.C. with Johnny Dawkins. Kelvin went on and had a great career at the University of Richmond. Of course, Kelvin went to DeMatha, Johnny went to Mackin. They've known each other since they were kids. Kelvin now on the staff. And Xavier Johnson at Southern Illinois is one of the best scorers in the country. That's his brother, and Johnny Dawkins is Xavier's godfather. So there you see Kelvin Johnson, played for Dick Tarrant at Richmond in the 80s, a kind of a renaissance of Richmond Spider basketball back then. Relationships are everything in basketball, Rich. Remember that.
In and out. Oklahoma State's last field goal, Fran, 1.5 minutes to go in the first half. And we're coming up on 8 minutes gone by in the second half. First game of the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship. If UCF's going to win a title, they're going to have to win 5 games in 5 days. But they're off to a good start. 2 on the clock. Johnson forced it up. Offensive rebound, Silla. Now Johnson from 3. Cash it.
Good effort by Silla to keep that ball alive. Jarius had to shoot the first one because it was a low shot clock situation. It came right back to him.
The only returning starter for Johnny Dawkins this year, earned himself honorable mention, all Big 12.
You know who would have been great on this team this year with this talent? IT Horton. You know, IT played last year at UCF, and UC Daly, but now at Texas. He's that fifth starter, and ironically, you know, they had a lottery pick last year, first round pick, Taylor Hendricks. IT took more shots than the first round pick did. And now he finds himself at Texas, where I think they're playing good basketball.
Yeah, they've been on the rise in the other half of the bracket.
Imagine IT and his shooting ability on this team.
Sellers, no. Ball goes out of bounds, and it's going to stay UCF basketball. When we come back, Cincinnati head coach Wes Miller will join us. His Bearcats will be taking on the Mountaineers coming up later today. Well, make sure to keep your televisions and your laptops on after the conclusion of this game, because coming up a little bit later, number 11 seed Cincinnati will be playing number 14 seed West Virginia in the second of two games today from the Phillips 66 Big Men's Championship. And we're thrilled to be joined by head coach Wes Miller from the Cincinnati Bearcats. Wes, thanks for joining us. So your team won 2 of the final 3 games leading into the Big 12 tournament. For people who haven't seen Bearcats basketball this season, how would you describe how you're playing down the stretch?
Well, I think we've been playing well down the stretch. I think we've been playing pretty good basketball for all the conference play. We've struggled to win some really close games, and I think that's probably defined our record and where we're seated in this tournament more than anything. But we played pretty resilient basketball all year, and if our guys haven't gotten a result or have had a tough moment, they've really fought back. They've really been resilient. So I'm proud of this group's toughness, and I think our best basketball is still way ahead of us.
Wes, what have they learned from being in so many close games, do you think?
Well, I think they've learned about the attention to detail, you know, Fran, and we talked about this at Oklahoma a week ago. We've been in, I mean, almost every single league game for us has come down to 1 or 2 possessions, and they've learned when they've executed and they've done a nice job with those little things throughout the course of a game. That's been the reason we've overcome some of those close games and won. And then we've learned that when we haven't done those things, that's been the difference between not winning that last possession or 2. This group's, again, this has been a terrific group to coach. They're together, they're connected, but they are learning how to win in the best league in college basketball. At times we've done that well, and at times we've had to learn some really hard lessons.
Coach, you talk about the prolific amount of close games you played. The last game you played happened to be against this same West Virginia team you're facing later this afternoon, and that was not a close game. What are the advantages of playing a Mountaineers team just 3 days ago?
Well, the advantages of it was not a difficult prep. We didn't have to dig in and learn, right, and teach the kids, because we just came off of playing that team. So there's a lot of familiarity there. But there's some difficulty to it, too. You know that we didn't get West Virginia's best game. They'll come out, they'll respond. Josh has done that with his group all year. They'll make some adjustments. But in terms of digging in and trying to teach the kids the personnel and the stuff that they do game in, game out, there wasn't as much of that as there would normally be, because we just played them on Saturday.
All right, Wes Miller, head coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats, thanks for your time. We will be watching his Bearcats take on the West Virginia Mountaineers coming up in just a little while on this court, T-Mobile Center, in the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship. That's good. Cincinnati and West Virginia split the season series, both teams winning on their respective home courts, but Saturday's game in Cincinnati, that was a dump truck type of a fight.
Well, and it was a big night in Cincinnati, big afternoon, I should say, because it was senior day, and John Newman III among some of the other seniors saying goodbye. Bob Huggins was there. Kenyon Martin, I believe, was at that game.
He was.
It was kind of a celebration of Cincinnati basketball, and I really like what Wes is doing, Rich. We had a chance to see him this year. They play hard, they play with a purpose. Like Johnny Dawkins, Wes was an outstanding player in the ACC. Johnny wouldn't like me telling you that Wes played at North Carolina. Wes played on the national championship team in 2005. I think there's 6 coaches. You mentioned 8 in the Final Four, but 6 of the 14 coaches have titles. Mark Pope certainly is a player at Kentucky.
Right.
We can go through them all. Tang, Self, Drew.
That one blocked by Payne, and then blocked again by Silla.
That's not a surprise. This team is excellent at protecting the rim.
17th in the nation in block shots.
Shamari Allen is so unsung. There's a lot of glue-type things.
There's a 3 in the corner, and Antoine Jones getting some burn in the second half and making it worth it. 5 points.
Another one of those kids who transferred back home. Played a lot of basketball at Memphis. Creighton as well, Louisiana.
Garrison, patience pays off.
That's a great word, Rich. He took his time. Payne tried to muscle him. And again, Garrison, it's all about growth, and I'm not just talking about physically.
Weaving through traffic and drawing the foul is number 2 in white, Shamari Allen.
Let's go back and watch. This is a team, as Rich said, they protect the rim as well as anybody. They block 1 shot of every about 7 half-court possessions, and then Antoine Jones, the young man who is from Orlando, Oak Ridge High School, back home after, again, stamping that basketball passport at places like Creighton and University of Louisiana, Memphis.
Interesting part about Antoine Jones, not only is he a journeyman basketball-wise, he actually took a year off from basketball, went to St. Pete Community College, took a year off, and then rediscovered his love for the game, and now playing about 2 hours north in Orlando. Allen makes them both.
Again, you see, this is what we call token full court pressure. It's a 2-2-1 press. I doubt they'll trap. And basically now they better get back because they're at a disadvantage, and they do. They transition back to the defense pretty quickly.
The defense has been on display, especially in the second half. Oklahoma State completely flustered on the offensive end.
Well, we talked about this defense at the start, right? Other than Iowa State and, of course, Houston may be as good a defense as there is in the league that values defense.
Here's Johnson. Pocket pass to Payne. And Omar Payne will go to the line and shoot a pair.
UCF, Rich, on their way to probably a 17th win this season, and the date with BYU if this lead holds. And we said it early, I think Johnny Dawkins has done a really good job in his first season in the Big 12. I know they're excited about football down in Orlando, the Olympic sports. But Johnny's the kind of guy that you'd want your son to play for. He's a great human being, was a great player. And he's got these guys playing really, really hard.
Good hands. Darius Johnson knocked it out of bounds. I love the reaction from Darius Johnson, who's one of the best thieves in college basketball.
He thought he knocked it off of the offensive player, and he and Doug Sermons.
Coming up real quick after this break, we've got Josh Eilert, the head coach from West Virginia, coming up. Just a reminder, immediately following the conclusion of this game, Cincinnati will take on West Virginia about 30 minutes after the conclusion right here on ESPN+. And thrilled to be joined by Josh Eilert, the head coach for the West Virginia Mountaineers. Coach, thanks for taking a couple of minutes. If you win this game against Cincinnati, you're going to be facing a Kansas team who you beat already this year. Give us a highlight of the season for you in your first season as the head man in Morgantown.
The highlight, that was one of the highlights for sure. You know, bringing number 3 ranked Kansas into Morgantown and getting that win. So it's been a roller coaster every year. We've had a lot of challenges, and we've been meeting them head on. And we're just excited to have a clean slate and, you know, an opportunity here in the postseason.
Josh, you split with the Bearcats. What advantage do you see knowing that you just played them in Cincinnati? Probably didn't play your best, but you get a chance 72 hours later to get them again.
Well, we'll find out what type of resilience, what type of fight our guys have. You know, that we were embarrassed there in Cincinnati, and you know, I ran out of timeouts trying to, you know, stop the bleeding, and it just kept on, you know, pouring in. So we're going to see what type of competitiveness, you know, what type of resilience our guys have, and 2 days later you get a chance to redeem yourself.
Josh, last question for you. This is a team that has not had its full complement of players for many games this season. For people who are going to be tuning in and seeing West Virginia basketball for the first time this year, what do you hang your hat on?
You know, just the way our guys carry themselves. You know, I want them to play the right way. We're still learning to play with each other, to be honest with you, in terms of our chemistry. So you see flashes of it, but you also see times where it's a struggle to get on the same page because, you know, we didn't have the opportunity to work together as much as, you know, so many of these other teams that started from the summer. So it's kind of been like coaching a G League team in a lot of ways. So we're trying to figure things out, and hopefully we can get hot here late.
Josh, we really appreciate the time. Good luck coming up a little bit later against Cincinnati.
Very good, thank you.
That's Josh Eilert, the head coach of the West Virginia Mountaineers. That game, Cincinnati, West Virginia, coming up about 30 minutes after the conclusion of this game.
Well, Johnny Dawkins told us that he has a lot of depth. He feels this time of year it's going to help them, and I think we've seen that in this game today.
Javon Small's bucket gives him a dozen, but the lead is 25 for the UCF Knights.
Knights have 9 different players who scored today, and you mentioned earlier, Rich, Jarius Johnson doesn't have to turn on the Jets, if you will, offensively. Oh, that's a good
Here's Diallo, spins left, pretty move, but he lost the handle. What a day it's been for Ibrahima Diallo. A double-double with 14 and 10, and there's still more than 6 minutes to go.
Yep, they've got 20 points in the paint, which is a solid number, but from the very first play, Johnny Dawkins decided they were going to go inside at Garrison, at Daly, and they've done a good job with it.
There's Marcellus Avery off the mark. Polk's going to need a lot of this from Javon Small if they're going to mount a comeback. 15 now for Small.
Run and jump here, double team by the Cowboys, and a foul outside. They tried to spook Jarius Johnson and pick up a foul in doing so.
It's Justin McBride whistled for his second foul.
Jarius plays his high school. He played his high school ball, Rich, at Episcopal High School in the D.C. area. I would say you could argue Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, but certainly basketball at the high school level in D.C. is as good as anywhere in the country.
Johnson in double digits with 10 now, but you touched on this earlier, Franny. 6 rebounds, 5 assists as well.
Yep. He's really, he's quietly, because we don't see UCF as much as we see Kansas and Houston, but quietly one of the best lead guards in this league, without a doubt.
In the last month, since February 1st, averaging 18.5 a game, but he hasn't had to score that much today. It's been a team effort for these Knights. There's another 3 by Jarius Hicklen.
Hicklen might be their best outside shooter, nearly a 40% career three-point shooter.
And Diallo is down. The foul was away from the ball. That's going to be on Brandon Garrison, who is whistled for his 4th foul. It's back to us. I didn't see. Let's take a look at the slow-mo and see what happened.
And you see Garrison trying to work his way around Diallo in front of him, and then he accidentally reaches in.
So Ibrahima Diallo has already tied his season high, and he's 1 point away from a career high. With this kind of lead, it'll be interesting to see how much longer Johnny Dawkins keeps him on the floor.
Yeah, they're going to come back and play tomorrow during the day. And I would say the same is true for Sellers and Jarius Johnson, both who play over 30 minutes a game. Coming off a really good win in Fort Worth on Saturday.
It was a 2-point win where Jarius Johnson led all scorers with 33 points. Winning on the road, as we've talked about all season long, it's been one of the common themes of Big 12 conference basketball. So difficult to win if you're a road team.
Yeah, no question. And more often than not, you go into the hostile environments of great crowds. I would say at least 12 of the 14 teams have a home court advantage that is pretty darn good.
And maybe that's the most impressively surprising thing about UCF. We knew they played defense. I don't think everybody in the Big 12 knew what a home court advantage Johnny Dawkins and the Knights have. There's another three, and all of a sudden Oklahoma State's starting to heat up from beyond the arc.
Johnny might want a timeout. No? Yeah, he does.
5:09 to go still. Coach Dawkins doesn't want any slippage from his Knights, who lead by 19. So the Big 12, obviously all convening here in Kansas City, but with a bigger goal in mind, and that is the field of 68. And right now, Joey Brackett's, our resident bracketologist, Joe Lenardi, says 9 teams are in. TCU and Oklahoma, they're going to be playing each other tomorrow. So that could be a play-in game, but Kansas State and Cincinnati are both on the bubble looking in. Maybe a good showing here in Kansas City pushes them inside.
I would say a great showing, right? I mean, no matter who you beat in Kansas City, it really helps if it's a quad 1 win. So it's not, it's not anything that happens early in the bracket. It's can you advance to a semifinal, for example. And, Oklahoma's played an incredibly difficult schedule down the stretch. We mentioned TCU. I think that's a team that can get to a Sweet 16. Texas playing well over the last couple of weeks. And it's going to be real, Rich, the most interesting thing about March Madness is going to be what does Kansas look like in that opening game of the NCAA tournament, especially if Dickinson and McCullough are back. We will not see those guys here in Kansas City.
Bill Self has said that they both should be ready to play come NCAA tournament time. Avery forced it up. Daly comes away with it for the Pokes. Nearly picked off by Johnson, coming right into our laps.
Now that time, Rich, I did not have you covered.
At least you're honest about that.
Yes.
You were locked in on the game.
Yeah.
Here's Shamari Allen.
We almost got decapitated in Lubbock.
Yes.
Thanks to Brock Cunningham.
Johnson the floater, no. Weak side rebound to Williams. Small, hot hand, stays hot.
Oh boy.
21 now, and 3 3-pointers in the second half for Javon Small.
One of the worst feelings as a coach is to have a huge lead and see it wither away. Right now, 16 still seems comfortable.
10 on the shot clock for UCF.
It might be Jarius Johnson time, Rich.
Working on Small, top 2 scorers in the Big 12 the last month. Johnson forced it up, good D, but Diallo puts it in, and that's a career high for Ibrahima Diallo.
Usually we want the big guy to kick it out and run some clock, and he said, nah, I'm going to get that career high.
Small, heat check, off the mark. Kept alive by Oklahoma State. That 3 is off the mark. Coming up on 3 minutes to go. Threes are really what Oklahoma State needs at this point.
Yep, and UCF knows that, so you have to challenge that line. On the other hand, UCF's going to probably use 25 seconds on every possession from here down the stretch. Have enough points to win right now.
Line change coming for Johnny Dawkins on the next whistle. That's a three by Marcellus Avery, his second of the game.
And that pretty much stems a lot of the momentum from those Cowboy threes.
There's a throwdown by Eric Daly. We have a timeout on the floor, a 19-point lead for the 12 seed UCF. They're knocking them down from distance. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. Well, if you're new to watching Big 12 basketball, here's what you can expect. The top 4 teams get double byes into the quarterfinals, starting with the number 4 seed, Texas Tech. Number 3 will be Baylor, Scott Drew's club, another top 15 team in the nation. And number 2, Iowa State, maybe the most surprising of the top 4 seeds. Home court advantage huge for the Clones. And the number 1 team, the Houston Cougars, the Big 12 regular season champs, led by Coach of the Year, Kelvin Sampson, and Player of the Year, Jamal Shead. Here's a look at the full bracket of the Phillips 66 Big 12 Men's Championship. Like we said, those 4 seeds won't play until Thursday, but we've got a full day of basketball, wall to wall, coming up tomorrow.
A lot of huge games. Texas, Kansas State, TCU. TCU, Oklahoma, all competing for at-large bids. BYU in, Kansas in. Cincinnati, of course, if they can win today, they put themselves at least in a position to be in a position beyond the bubble.
Coming up on 2 minutes to go in this contest, the first game of the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship from Kansas City, and it was a close one at the break. UCF led it by 4, but then they have blown the doors open in the final 20 minutes.
Rich, if you could give me 9 of 17 from 3, 9 of 18 now from this UCF team, that's 50% obviously, I did my math. With this defense, they'd have 5 more wins. Now the problem is they shoot 31% overall during the season. But Johnny Dawkins going to empty that bench right now.
Niels Mahovsky, 22 in white, checking in. Antoine Jones checking out. This is a UCF team, like you said, 9 threes. They've only made double-digit threes in a game twice this season and only once in Big 12 play. Here's Small. In and out. Silla the rebound. Now all UCF wants to do is bleed some clock.
Well, there's a couple guys out there that want to get a shot up there, too.
This would be one of them. Koma Emabor. Now Silla,
nice.
Jump hook in the lane.
He's only a sophomore, Rich, and he's only 20 years old, but he's been impressive today.
Daly for 3. So Oklahoma State season will end. Their overall mark will be 12-19. A lot of questions to be answered in Stillwater.
Year 7 of Mike Boynton's run. Had some bad luck in some ways. Should have been an NCAA team in 21. NCAA took that away from them, injuries. But on the other hand, Johnny Dawkins and his Knights, nice first year in the Big 12.
That last bucket for UCF scored by Tyler Hendricks. He mentioned his brother getting drafted. Here's Silla. Oh, and an inadvertent elbow right to the face of Keon Williams.
And Silla inside pivoted. And let's make sure that Keon's okay, and then we play on. We don't need a monitor review. Yep, all good. Wasn't done intentionally.
Doug Sermons just came over. What did he tell you?
Well, he said that it could have easily been a cylinder foul, but I think because there's 46 seconds to go in the game, he's like, nah.
Talk about injury added to insult.
Yeah,
for the Cowboys.
And I love Keon, man. He's had a really good sophomore year. By the way, the 3 officials today are Final Four level officials. You can see all 3 of these guys. I know there's some people out there that think they all stink every game. But you would not have good basketball without mostly good officiating. I feel a little bit different than when I was on the sideline, by the way. Didn't realize how good they were until I stopped coaching.
And you're undefeated since you retired.
I'm going to count it.
So score that bucket for Weston Church. He had 2 points all season. Now he's got 2 points in a Big 12 tournament game.
Watch the shot blocker come over. Silla, ball on the way down.
Oklahoma State still competing. Small off the mark. And Silla the rebound. Shot clock is off, and this one is academic. UCF will improve to 17-14 overall, and in their first year in the Big 12 Conference, they've got their first win in Big 12 Conference tournament play. Amabor's gonna dribble it out. UCF using a dominating second half to pull away and win against Mike Boynton's Cowboys. The final score,